Go here, Mr. Mahoney is absent.
Could you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have to do that over, Dave?
Yes. No, I think we've got it on this one here.
This one goes up with that.
Oh, okay, well.
Okay, we'll start over.
Start over again, please.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of Sylvania Township Board of Trustees, October 15th. The time is 5 o'clock.
We'll call the roll. Mr. Gentleman. Here. Mr. Mahoney, he's not present. He's watching a soccer game, I think, with his son tonight. Sectional tournaments.
Okay. Yes.
But he's absent. Mr. Crandall.
Here.
Simko, here.
Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the minutes of the October 1st meeting. I'll move approval.
You know what, I didn't get a chance to read them, to be honest.
Well, why don't we delay them? We'll delay them to the next meeting. Okay, any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Just the medical marijuana, we were gonna push to the next meeting as well.
Oh, yeah, okay. We're gonna, since Mr. Baldy's gone, the medical marijuana, Daryl will push that to the next meeting. And there won't be any executive session tonight. Anything else?
Nothing further. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. There's nobody signed up for hearing of the public for agenda items, so we'll move to zoning. Daryl?
Good evening. My first item is the monthly report for September for zoning. Permits were even with September of a year ago at 48, and estimated dollar value was up 16.7% at just under $5 million. That stems mostly from, you can see on the top line there, the $1 million estimated value in commercial. That is the ProMedical Wildwood. They're doing a renovation on their first floor. So that gave us a big boost for September right there. Year-to-date, number of permits, 429, that's a 13% decrease, but we're up 16.9% at $45,292,000, an estimated value for the year. Next page, please. Single-family dwellings, 74 year-to-date. We're down 23.7% from last year, which more and more is looking like somewhat of an anomaly compared to all the previous years. We're almost even, though, on estimated value at $24.14 million versus $24.59 million a year ago. That's 1.8% down. And that's largely because of that estimated value per dwelling of $326,000. That's almost a 43% increase over last year. So fewer houses than last year, but the ones that are being built are more expensive. Next page. Complaints and violations were way up for the month. That percentage is wrong. It says 100. It should be 144%. 22 versus 9, and that's driven largely by the continuing high grass complaints. It's been a very rainy summer, and that grass just hasn't stopped growing. Year-to-date, we're up 42, just under 42% on our complaints and violations. Next page. Monthly meetings, the BZA and the Zoning Commission did not meet. There's no agenda. Project plan review, we had Apostolic Christian Church that's building new church on Her Road, that's just south of Ice Industries. And then First Apostolic Church, right over here on Sylvania Avenue, is building a separate building for daycare. Next page. Just a few items of note. We've got a pending zone change. It's on track to be before the trustees December 3rd. That's 3137 Knoll Avenue, which is currently a single-family dwelling. Taylor Kia owns it, and they wish to demolish the home and have additional parking for inventory on that lot. 3128 Plainview Drive, this is the proposed Holiday Inn Express at Central and 23, and we'll be going through project plan review tomorrow morning, actually. The Speedway at Central and Holland, Sylvania came in to see me a couple weeks ago, and they've got plans in the works. They're going to do a total demolition of the current facility there, tanks and everything, and pretty much build a whole new gas station from scratch. And then lastly is the ProMedica Wildwood that I mentioned earlier. And that is it for my monthly report.
Any questions for Daryl? Okay.
Okay.
We'll move on to the next resolution we're going to delay till Neil's here.
Right.
Which will be hopefully the next meeting. So we'll move on to abatement.
Yes, I have Resolution 19122, authorization of abatement of vegetation and/or debris for the two properties listed there for tall grass.
I'll move Resolution 19122, authorization of abatement of vegetation and/or debris.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes. Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you.
Administration, Daryl? Or Oliver, I'm sorry.
Good evening, trustees. Tonight I'm offering one resolution, being Resolution 19123. As trustees are aware, administration has been working to improve existing electronic record storage practices in order to increase productivity and reduce operating costs. Administration has determined that the iCompass platform through which the township currently manages its meetings could serve as an optimal alternative to Image Silo, which the township began using in 2011. Notably, iCompass provides improved text search capabilities, is a platform that has already been implemented by the township, and would cost approximately $650 per year, representing significant cost savings compared to the existing budget for Image Silo. As trustees are further aware, the existing purchase order and purchasing policy specifically references Image Silo by name. In order to facilitate a migration of electronic records from the Image Silo platform to iCompass, it would be appropriate to amend the policy to remove the existing reference to Image Silo and replace it with the term Electronic Data Storage System. Likewise, it may be appropriate to amend the policy to remove the existing reference to the VIP software program and replace it with the term Accounting System. It should be noted the township would continue to use the VIP accounting system, but this change in language would provide future flexibility for the trustees to select new systems without needing to amend the policy. The offered resolution would enact the revised purchase order and purchasing policy and authorize the township administrator to terminate existing agreements with eMerge, which provides Image Silo. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Turner? I'll move Resolution 19123, adoption of a revised purchase order, purchasing policy.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes. Fiscal Officer, thank you, Mr. Turner. David?
Yes, we have our month-end analysis. We're three-quarters of the way through the year, and our revenues are mostly in, as we experienced last year, and we generally experience every year. We get our, there's some things still trickle in. You can see we're close to 100% in all of the funds except the general fund right now. So expenses, our revenues are looking good in what was expected. On expenditures, we actually are doing well. Again, I think if you really look at three-quarters of the year, everyone is at 70% or below. So I think that the expenditures are really going well too. We're keeping a good handle on it. Obviously, as we get toward the end of the year, we get closer and closer, and hopefully we can come in under 100% on our expenditures, and that we're trying. So that's all I really have there on the 110 analysis. If there are any questions, I do have some resolutions.
What's dragging the general fund down 6%?
I don't know. I think we've got to wait just a little bit and see where that's at and why we're down a little bit. But we're down 4% over, last year in that. And it could be some monies still need to come in the general fund, or maybe, do you have anything about?
Yes, we had reclassified some $278 to a different fund, with the tax incentive money used from general fund. So right there, you're $275 out.
Okay.
And that is what exactly, more
is
the
it?
difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. If there's nothing else, I've got some resolutions, and first is Resolution 19-124, and it's a Township Appropriation for an Unencumbered Balance. We do have some monies that we need to, on the household pickup, some additional funds, and that in the household pickup, as you remember, the report was we had significantly higher tonnage that we picked up this year than previous years. And the second is on the senior center, we did get in some additional funds that we really need to pass on to the senior center, a small sum of money. And then fire grant, we do have to increase expenditures. We do need to move some advanced monies out from the fire grant fund to the fire fund for reimbursement of monies received by 2 grants. As you remember, we generally we advance the money, and then it comes in on these grants, and these monies are coming in. We have also, the last one is a significant sum under the self-insurance fund. We were basing our estimates on 2018 figures, and as the trustees are aware, we are having some significant, I don't want to say overages, but some additional claims that are being paid there. And so that's why that larger number is there, and that for medical and prescription insurance. And so I would ask for motion to approve Resolution 19-124.
What fund is that self-insurance coming out of?
638.
Is that the general fund, or?
Internal service fund for the self-insurance. They have a separate fund.
Okay. And does that get us caught up? Is it, what portion of this is being picked up by the employees, or? I didn't know we were going to be cutting a check for $1 million for this.
Right, thank you for that question, Trustee Genowine. That additional amount provides for the expenditures which are expected through the end of the year, which have been currently encumbered for claims. So the employees continue to pay 10% on the aggregate estimated premiums. So in our conversations, myself, Mr. Mirza, and Vicki Alspa, during the budget development, we want to be mindful of, for 2020, projecting the information which would be necessary for projected claims to make sure that at this time next year we're not having the same conversation.
Wouldn't normally they roll it into next year's premium? I mean, it's pretty rare that an entity would be able to cut $1 million check in October after what they would consider most of their expenses are already done and incurred.
Right, they would take this information and the claims incurred for this year, and that would affect the rates for the renewal year. These are for expenses which have been incurred or are projected to be incurred through the end of this year.
Okay.
Certainly, we could research other information and provide that.
I move Resolution 19-124, Township Appropriation from Unencumbered Balance.
I'm not satisfied with the answer on the self-insurance fund, and I'm not going to vote on this.
Well, we'll delay it then.
Okay.
Doesn't have a second, it's dead.
Can I give some input? There's
Yes.
also another reason that last time the very significant increase took place in the rates, which was nearly close to 18%. And obviously, when we did the budget, rates were not available.
Yeah.
So right there is a very big reason. And the same thing will happen right now.
Yeah.
So we are doing the budgets, but it's based on 2019 numbers. And plus, we are paying much more claims. Because that's a very unpredictable account in terms of, like, medical claims can go down, they can go up. So that's why one of the reasons is that big 18% jump which we had.
So this fund, every department feeds into it, and then it gets dispersed to the medical insurance, correct?
Yes. Correct. Yes, correct.
And, okay.
But it dies for a lack of second, so let's move on.
No, I just wanted more clarification before we
Oh,
move
okay,
forward.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay,
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
yes,
And
I'm sorry.
Resolution 19-125, and we do this, every year where we accept the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission, authorizing the necessary tax levy and certifying them to the county auditor. We look these over, but basically they calculate these things and send them to us as we do every year. We approve it, have to send it down to them, and then you'll see the next resolution where we're requesting advances on these things.
What's the levy, is it, or the one for the senior center, is that a new levy? Or is that a renewal that's out there? I've seen signs for it, 8?
It's actually, I forget the percentage, I think it's 0.6 mil renewal, but there's a 1,500s, I think. It's like 25% increase. So it's not I think it's considered a new levy, but most of it's a renewal.
Okay.
And I think the numbers do you know, Oliver? I think it was 0.6, and they're asking for 0.75 now, I think. So 0.6 of the 0.75 is...
That's the only sign I've seen out there. I was just curious as to what it was about.
I think it's issue 8.
Yeah, okay. Second.
Let's see here.
I think we're on resolution 125.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you move it, John?
Yes, I did.
And John seconded?
Yep.
So Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
And then have resolution 19-126, and that's a request for advancement of taxes for the 2020 fiscal year. If you don't request it, well, they hang on to it, and we need the money. So let's pass this one.
Resolution
This shouldn't take much discussion.
19-126, request advancement of taxes for 2020 fiscal year.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
And I have resolution 19-127, and it's advancing monies from the police grant fund, from the police fund to the police grant fund. As a grant fund, we'll be receiving bulletproof vest reimbursement, reimbursing grant.
I'll move resolution 19-127, advancement of funds.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay, next item on the agenda is hearing of the public, non-agenda items. I don't believe anyone was signed in. Looks like that's correct. Okay, we'll go to open discussion and reports. Any open discussion of the board? Okay. Chief?
Sir. Good afternoon. I'm a little under the weather, so if I seem like I'm not really here, I'm a little bit tired today. Front page, actually, we had our annual 911 ceremony at Toledo Memorial Park. It was a beautiful day, and it's awesome to be able to, I get to ring the bell every year, so to me it's pretty awesome. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm really the only person that's ever rang that bell so far, so I'm digging that. September anniversaries, we had a couple guys with 20 years and a gentleman with 5. We were also very busy. We did a little bit more mutual aid, as you can see. Top left, we went up to Ottawa Lake to help them with their grain fire that they had at the silos.
The picture on the right is CERT training that we do with the med tech students at both Northview and Southview every year. And then the bottom one, as everyone's well aware, Metal X out in Delta caught fire, and myself and 6 of our guys were out there for 14 hours assisting. It was both as mutual aid and as part of the emergency response plan for the Ohio Fire Chiefs, which, as you're well aware, I'm the Northwest Director for that, so I was out there on two accounts. But also, I wanted to let you guys know that week, that was on 9/9, the Metal X. We were there for 14 hours. The very next night, we were at Toledo Express Airport for a plane crash. We were out there for over almost 9 hours assisting there. And then that Friday, which was Friday the 13th, we had another fatal house fire in Savannah. So it was a pretty tough, long week for the guys, and we got through it. But just so you're aware that, the guys were very, very busy that week. Next page, number of incidents, again, we're up a little bit. The one part that I do like to point out is all the way to the bottom end line, if you can go up just a little bit, the overlapping runs. We went from 40.21 in 18 to 45.19 this year, so we're up a little bit. When we get one run, we get the second run right away. And then if you look at the auto aid given and received, we gave a little bit more this month than we did receive. So, but we did get a full complement on our fatal house fire. We had Springfield, Richfield, and Toledo assisted us at that fire. So the next page would be this month's transports. We had quite a few, 193 transports for the month. Next page would be community risk reduction. Firefighter Hillard and Chief Fralick have been doing a lot of fire extinguisher training all over. Matter of fact, they were at Wildwood on Reynolds Road, I think it was Wednesday, and they called in a truck fire. Well, interesting enough, it was our fire truck sitting there, and the fire was next to it. So somebody going by on 911 called and said the truck was on fire. So that was quite interesting. Training, we've been using the houses, like I said, and also this past Saturday we had our annual fall fire festival, and the guys did a lot of stuff all this past week trying to get ready for that. Unfortunately, we had to move it from Forest to Centennial Terrace. The building next door to number 4 was being torn down, so we couldn't use their lot to park. So we had to move it to Centennial Terrace, and I think the weather held us down a little bit. We were down to like 550. We're usually up around 1,100. So I think the weather had something to do with it. And the last page again, overtime. Really not happy with that. I still have 4 people off on extended FMLA, so I'm having to fill it. So, and that's really all I have, unless you have any questions for me. All right, thanks,
Chief. Police, Chief Reddick.
Good evening. Guess I'm pinch hitting for Paul tonight. Just real quick, the monthly report for the month of September, page 2. Just kind of go through there. You can look at the statistics there and see that for the most part, on our serious crimes here, we are pretty much running the same as what we were last year. I think what you will see is, what's striking to me is our domestics and our menacings are up a lot. And those are really nothing that we have any control over as a police department. Page 4 then, page 5, I'm sorry. You can see that we made 45 arrests last month, which is about average, I think, is what we're running. And that's it I have for the monthly report. But I would like to tell you, last weekend, there was a robbery just down here on Pennsylvania Road at gunpoint. We got one tip that came in through social media, and our detectives were able to use that tip, and they did a wonderful, wonderful job. We're able to identify the suspect today with no physical evidence. Did a search warrant today, recovered a ton of evidence in the case, and they did make an arrest. Good. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Road Department, Rob?
Good evening. You have the monthly report for September. September was a pretty busy month. Some of the annual stuff we were working on
fall brush pickup, completed 845 cubic yards, which is around average, a little bit below average of what we normally do every year. The annual household pickup, like was mentioned in the budget talks, was a record haul, 213.52 tons compared to last year's 144.77, which we thought was a lot. That was the reason why we needed to move the $17,500 out of the budget to transfer some of that money. I think it's just an up and down cycle that people and sometimes renters or people who own rentals evacuate some of those homes, and we do pick it up if it's curbside. So we did interview, and we completed our interview selection process and put the resume on last month for last agenda for Shane Fisher. This gentleman's out of Riga, Michigan. He currently works for Cooling Corporation, so we'll be bringing him on in about 2 weeks, be a full-time utility worker, so we're excited about that. Other than that, service department, did the routine maintenance, and you can see some of the individual items that were worked on. The fire, we assisted with the pump testing. Al helped out with that. And Al also attended the annual symposium and testing down in Reynoldsburg at the Ohio Fire Academy. And he also attended and was a guest speaker, was invited to a seminar in Michigan and put on a class regarding the safety and keeping in the cab of the engines and fire equipment. So kudos to him on that. Page 2. If you saw in the budget, we were probably the lower end of the spectrum as far as money spent versus the revenue coming in. That mostly due to the 2 projects that were delayed. The OPWC project, it is in process, but we haven't made any payments on it yet. So in the next few weeks, you'll start seeing those numbers start getting back into line with the rest of the other departments. The second resurfacing project had a completion date of next year, if you recall, so some of that money will be rolled over into next year. So at the end of the budget year, my budgeted expenditures will be, percentage will be a lot lower than what we anticipate, just due to that one project. So most of the other projects were completed. If you have any questions on them, I'd be happy to answer.
I noticed you followed up with the county boom mower, that's great.
Yeah, the county, we've made arrangements with them. They've been down our paver. We're not using it. We've been using their boom mower, and last week we sent a gentleman out, one of our utility workers, and got trained on their paint striper.
Oh.
So we can go inside the subdivisions where the county doesn't go into and do that. And we're going to work with their paint striper machine and see the feasibility of just purchasing one ourselves.
I was in Homerdale the other day. You did a nice job there with the own crews. Looked good.
Have you ever looked at lining up the general pickup with the city of Sylvania?
No, I don't know their schedule. From what I understand, they do multiple, and then they also, because they provide their own service, they pick up their own garbage, so they have like a tag system where they can call, and for larger items, they can pay additional just to have it picked up. So I don't know if they have an annual pickup like we do.
I think they do, and I think it's a similar time frame, and I think there's a little bit of confusion. So,
yeah, we can.
And I don't know if it's worth, but maybe just seeing if there's any interest in
I think
coordinating
they
that.
have one, like we do. Wait a minute, we have 2 brush, they only have 1. And then I think we both have.
Again, they do a curbside pickup for brush continuously.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But the requirements are pretty stringent compared to how we do it. It has to be bundled and wrapped and tied, and can only be certain dimensions from what I understand, so. But we could certainly look into that. I will check with the safety service gentleman and ask what his schedule is and how they perform that function.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, I don't believe there's any other business, so I'll move to adjourn at 5:30.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes, thank you for coming.